I am using a new camera today and a new microphone, so hopefully that works out, but if it's a little blurry, my apologies. Anyone who's owned a Nintendo 64 knows that the controller's analog joystick, or control stick, is the Achilles heel of an otherwise indestructible system. After years of play, the joystick becomes a limp, unresponsive hollow shell of its former self. Now, a lot of aftermarket controllers just don't feel right, and used OEM controllers often run $50 now, so for about $10 you can actually replace the joystick on your original controller instead. And before we go on, I'd like to talk about why the N64 control sticks break all the time. And the biggest reason is actually a design flaw, and the joystick itself, the plastic part, wears on the thumbstick assembly, so it's like plastic on plastic. Now this plastic on plastic action literally grinds the thumbstick into a powder, widening the original channels and making it irreparable. So you pretty much can't repair the thumbstick assembly even if you opened it up, because the plastic will have ground down so much that it's like going to be loose no matter what you do. So I definitely recommend replacing it. Now, in addition to that design flaw, there is another killer of joysticks. Mario Party, the destroyer of controllers. Now, before GoldenEye was released on the N64 in 1997, developers for the game wanted to add a cool feature that would allow you to reload your gun by removing the rumble pack from your controller and reinserting it, kind of like reloading the magazine on a gun. But Nintendo shot this down, afraid that it would wear down or otherwise break the controller. Then Nintendo released Mario Party, the destroyer of controllers. Mario Party's minigames require you to spin or toggle the thumbstick repeatedly, potentially for hours on end. This became such an issue that Nintendo offered protective gloves to Mario Party players as part of a settlement with the New York Attorney General after children reportedly injured their hands. Moving on. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is open your controller. There are 9 screws on the back, so just use a small screwdriver. Be sure to remove the controller pack if you have one. Now, luckily, Nintendo didn't use their weird tri-wing screws like they used on the NES cartridges and hardware for this. You can just use a normal Phillips head screwdriver, which is great. And then there are 2 small screws in the top. Alright, now you can open your controller. Now while we have it open, let's go ahead and clean it, because there are probably 20 years of Cheeto crumbs and skin flakes in here, and I don't know who owned this before me or what they did. So a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips will do that for you if you care. If not, whatever. Yeah, that is nasty. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is remove the small circuit board on the back here that goes to the Z button, which is the button on the back. And you can use your finger or a flathead screwdriver and just carefully pry one of the clips to the side. And you can move the board and a little rubber thingy out of the way. Alright, next we're going to remove the old joystick assembly. So there's a little connector here, which you can pop out using your finger or a flathead screwdriver. And go ahead and remove these 3 screws. Okay, so actually I removed the wrong screw here, but that's okay. There we go. The black screw actually holds the old assembly shut, so you can remove it. We can take a look at it actually. Alright, so this is pretty much why all these failed. Yeah, so you see this white powder? This is actually plastic from the thumbstick rubbing on the assembly here. And that's why you really can't repair these. I mean, I guess you could clean all this out and put some grease in here, but the channel's going to be so big already. This is like, this used to be part of this, so. Alright, now putting the new assembly in is really easy. You can actually see it's a slightly different design, which is nice. It's more of like a ball in there rather than just like a long stick that is can get stressed. Anyways, reassembling it's obviously the same as disassembly. And push the connector back in. And reattach the Z circuit board. Make sure you put the little rubber button back on or else it won't work, obviously. That was easy. So, Then we just put our screws back in, reattach your shoulder buttons if they fell out, which they probably will. Remember, the small screws go in the top. Now, I didn't even know these replacement modules existed, and my friend got me one for Christmas after I beat him in Super Smash Bros. A bunch of times, and he blamed the controller, and he said he'd buy me new controllers, and I realized how much they are, so I think for 10 bucks, totally worth it. It's like a totally new controller playing with it. I hope this very short video was very useful to you, and if you have a friend who has an N64 controller that's not playing quite right, and maybe they blame their terrible play on it, I'm looking at you, Nate, then you know, send this their way. See if they want to spend the $10 to restore an otherwise broken controller to something that's just like new. And as always, be sure to subscribe and like this video, or if you don't like it, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. I hope the new camera worked out okay, and I'll continue to bring you some more Raspberry Pi and you know, kind of hacky projects too. But I like to do this retro gaming stuff as well, and I know I have a lot of retro gaming fans on here, so I hope that this is useful to you. And as always, thank you very much for watching.